Today we are going to share some of our best tips to help you pass your driving test on the first try. The driving test is very hard, and if you expect it to be easy, chances are you'll end up with a failing score. But there's no need to worry. You will now learn exactly how to prepare for your test, as well as how to avoid making common mistakes on test day that can ruin everything. Stay tuned. First off, as soon as you enter your vehicle, there are a few tasks that your instructor will expect you to perform. Now, these can include some of the following: putting on your seatbelt, adjusting your mirrors, turning on your headlights and taillights, and testing windshield wipers. For example, if you forget to put on your seatbelt, that's an automatic fail on the driving test. Your vehicle itself, it will also be inspected to make sure it meets certain road testing standards. Now, this will include, for example, things like registration, insurance, interior safety equipment, doors, mirrors, lights, and service lights. And we'll put a link to an article covering everything you need to know about this and about preparing your vehicle in the description if you want to know more. Then we have tip number 2. Remember to watch your speed. Now, during your test, you should try always stay within 5 miles per hour of the posted speed limit. And we know it's easy to lose track of your acceleration and speed when you're nervous. But try to keep a smooth, constant speed throughout the test. We recommend that you get into the habit of always staying within 5 to 10 miles per hour of the posted speed limit every time you practice driving. This way, you will create a strong habit that will help you maintain your speed even in stressful situations, such as the driving test. Now, before we continue, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It will really help our channel and more people will be able to find this video. Thank you. Next, make sure to regularly check your mirrors. Now, many students, they often make the mistake of keeping their eyes laser focused on what's going on ahead of them during the exam. But forgetting to check your mirrors can result in an automatic fail on your test. Your side view and your rear view mirrors, they contain vital information about what vehicles are doing behind and around you. And the driving test examiner will look closely at how you use your mirrors. During the test, it can even be smart to exaggerate your mirror checks to make sure that the examiner sees what you're doing. You must also remember to check your blind spot, and that's to identify any vehicle that may be adjacent to yours. This brings us to our next tip, which is to practice as much as you can. Practice, practice, practice. There is no substitute for simply getting behind the wheel and practicing your main driving maneuvers. This will allow you to gain a certain level of comfort on the road, which will certainly help you a lot on the driver's test. We recommend that you pay extra attention to basic skills that you are likely to be tested on. And these can include things such as making complete stops, steering control, reversing, 3-point turns, speed control, and smooth acceleration and deceleration. You will also need to learn more advanced maneuvers such as parking on a hill or parallel parking. Parallel parking, for example, is seen as one of the most difficult parts of the driver's exam and a common cause of failure. Now, although some states have decided to drop the parallel parking part of the exam, it's still a handy skill to know since you will certainly need to parallel park in some situations in the future. Then we have tip number 5. Avoid aggressive braking. Aggressive braking is another common reason for missed points on the road test. Now, you should practice slowly applying pressure about a quarter mile before your destination. The best way to avoid any unnecessary aggressive braking is to look well ahead of your vehicle. And that way, you will be able to spot potential hazards and react in time. Let's move on to tip number 6. Don't assume that your mistakes are critical. Some students tend to assume they have failed a test after making a mistake. Don't. If it's not a critical mistake, you still have a chance of passing. Critical mistakes are errors that show a lack of control of the vehicle, or they could be errors that are dangerous to others on the roadway, and they result in an instant fail on the driving test. But non-critical mistakes are all other errors or mistakes that you make during the exam. Depending on where you live, you may accumulate a few non-critical mistakes without failing the test. At the end of the road test, the driving examiner themselves will review your score and point out areas of improvement, and you'll be told about your critical or non-critical mistakes. And on the topic of the examiner, that brings us to tip number 7. During your driving test, pay attention to the road, not the examiner. As you'll no doubt have learned early on, any distraction will severely impact your safe driving skills and concentration. While you may feel anxious to know what the examiner is doing and what they're writing down, it's completely irrelevant to know during the test. Instead of focusing on the examiner, focus on the road and the area around your car to ensure you drive in the safest and best possible way. And onto one of our last tips. Don't take your test too early. It's understandable to want to pass the road test and never think about it again. But taking the test before you are ready will inevitably lead to a failing grade. In fact, one of the most common mistakes, according to instructors we've spoken to, is taking the test too early. Remember, you won't be able to fake your way to a driver's license. So take your time to learn how to drive properly before taking the test. You'll end up saving time and money in the long run. And lastly, the bonus tip: use Zutobi. During the road exam, there is no room for mistakes or uncertainty, and you will find a ton of helpful driving tips, guides, and checklists to ensure that you crush your test on the first try. Basically, we will help you to learn all you need for your upcoming test, so you can focus on driving. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you want to study more, press the link in the description.